everyone, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Overcast. I am Justin,
And I am Brooksy.
and today we're going to be counting down our top 10 games of 2025. Between the two of us, we each have our own separate top 10 lists, and we're going to go round robin style. Brooksy will give his 10, I'll give my 10, and then 9, 8, so on, ending with number 1 being our game of the year, respectively,
Oh yeah.
at the end of it. We're also at the beginning here. We're gonna have some honorable mentions for games that deserve flowers but didn't quite make the list, and then at the end, if we have time, we might even talk about games we regret not getting to this year. Um, Also, if a game is on one of our lists, or if there's a game that's on both of our lists, when it gets to whoever's list it is in the lower ranking, whoever has it higher will just wait there. So like say I get to number 7 and my number 7 is like Brooksy's number 5, then we'll just skip it on my turn and wait until we get to it on his list and then talk about it. So that's how we're gonna handle it, I think.
Heck yeah. No, I've been waiting all year for this moment. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Quite literally, huh?
Literally,
Okay.
literally. But no, this is gonna be fun. It's been such a star-studded year in gaming, and it was hard. It was hard getting like top 10 was hard. Top 5 felt borderline impossible for me.
You know what's funny? I had that problem last year, but only because last year sucked so much. It was like,
Oh yeah.
what am I gonna
Yeah.
throw in here? I'm like,
Yeah.
you I guess.
What shit
you
what
know.
shit at the bottom of the barrel is gonna make it in the top 10 this year?
Honestly though, that being said, everything in my list that year I did actually enjoy. I was able to find the diamonds in the rough. It's
Yeah.
just it's that they were the best among a low bar is the best way to put it. Um, Whereas, except for Astrobot, which was like, mwah,
True
you
gem.
know,
True gem.
yes. Um, but anyways, this year not as much of a problem. I will say though, much like you, I it did take me a little bit to figure out my list this year, but 2023 is probably the hardest year I've had in a while figuring out my list, just
Yeah.
because everything was so good that year.
Oh
It was
god.
I felt bad leaving anything out. Um, but this year it's not as hard, but there was still a
It was like
competition.
for me it was like everything it was like 3, 4, 5, like that area that was hard, where it was like, what do I want to be in which spot? Like, they're all amazing. They're not like holy crap defining for me, but they're all great in their own right. Like, where does it feel right to put them? That was the hard part for me.
Yep, yep. Um, So let's start with the honorable mentions. I'll go first here just because I only have a couple and I'm just gonna throw them out really quickly. First,
Mhm.
Karma the Dark World, really good horror game that came out earlier this year that like is playing off a lot of things, but primarily George Orwell's 1984. It's a dystopian, cyberpunk future horror game. Very Blade Runner, very what's that Bloober Team game? Observer, a lot in common with that. Um, so, and then what was the other? Oh, Dead Reset, FMV horror game that I played this year.
Yeah, you did
Completely
really
live,
like that.
like completely live action. It was, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still just an FMV, and FMVs have never made my top 10, even though I've
Mm,
always considered them. But there's like, it's just they're never gonna be better than actual games, you
fair
know.
enough.
So, but it still was really good. And it's like it's basically Alien meets Happy Death Day is the best way to explain
Okay.
it story wise. You're like stuck in a time loop every time you die. You have to like change your choices, like don't like you take the knowledge of your previous death into the next loop, and like it helps you figure out what to do next. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. um
Mhm.
I think some people might be surprised that it's not actually on my list, but yeah, no, it's really good. I like it a lot. But it this actually fought for 10th place. I'm not gonna lie. It was almost on the list. It was very
Yeah,
close. Like if I was doing a top 15, this would be number 11.
that makes
Quite
sense.
frankly. Um, and I think the performance is great in it and everything else. So, oh, and then I'm a little hesitant here, but I'm gonna loophole it by saying I'm giving this specifically to tape one of Lost Records, not
Yeah,
tape two.
yeah, that's fair. Tape
um,
one was much better than tape two.
right, and I know it still wasn't your kind of thing, but like the thing I go into those don't nod style games for is more like the character stuff more so than the
Hmm.
supernatural
Yeah,
stuff.
no, it makes
Um,
sense.
and that was a very like it was a great representation of autism and I love the I love Swan as a character. She's very relatable to me, with the cats and the neurodivergency and the recording everything, you know.
Yeah,
Um and it was just I love those like summer coming of age stories with a supernatural twist, a little bit of
yeah.
that. Tape 2 took a huge dump, but they did not stick the landing, but tape 1 was phenomenal for me. So anyways, those are my honorable mentions
Yeah,
before we get to the list.
I mean, I've got a few honorable mentions myself. Big one out of the way is Death Stranding 2 for me. And I can guarantee you that if I had been able to dedicate the full time that the game deserved, it would have. There's no question it would have been in my top 10. Because I only got 15 hours into it. I just it didn't feel right to be able to put it in my top 10. Um, Sword of the Sea, a game I did finish and I did play. It's traditionally not very the artistic games like it has to really resonate with me for me to really love it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was beautiful. But it just fell just a little bit short for me. Um, Ninja Gaiden,
Fair.
yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4. I'm a huge Ninja Gaiden fan. I think I started getting into a little bit of a burnt out feeling on just like playing so many games that when I finally booted up Ninja Gaiden 4, I was like, oh, it's so intense right now, because it's a very fast hack and slash game, and I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me right now, but I do love this game, and it is really, really impressive. I only got a few hours into it, not enough for me to be able to give a full ranking. And lastly, and the one I'm most bummed out about on not being able to play all the way through to be able to give like a review or be able to like talk about it for my top 10 list is Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. I've mentioned it several times in the podcast. If you love Skyrim, you will love this game. It is a dark fantasy version of it, but just set in a Arthurian world with Celtic monsters. It's a very unique concept, but in a format that just like I don't know. It feels like you're eating pot roast. Like it's just so comforting, you know. It's just like it brings me back to like the like 2012 on my 400th hour of Skyrim. Like it, that's what the game felt like to me. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. And it's small dev team and like $40 full price too.
Okay. Oh, actually, I do have one more before I forget. Silent Hill F is in my
Mmm.
honorable mentions, just
Mmm.
because for as much as I bitched about the combat, which I still think sucks ass, I loved everything else about it. Like the story, the atmosphere, like and listening to analysts on YouTube explain the story in more detail makes me appreciate it even further.
Yeah.
Like it's a great narrative, but goddamn, the gameplay is a slog, and I can't. I struggled so much with it. I couldn't even actually finish it. I got to like basically 2 hours from the ending and gave up because it
Mm,
was too hard. I just couldn't like. I was getting my ass handed to me in those last combat encounters, and it felt really unfair. So,
fair.
um, but All right. Well, let's do the actual list now. And we're gonna start with Brooksy's number 10. I'm
Uh,
excited to hear this because I fucking have zero idea what
yeah,
is
I
in
didn't.
your. I know like maybe three things.
I
So
shared nothing with y'all. Like, you guys know games that I've really hyped up and everything, but like where certain games may be, yeah, I gave no clues. But
like
uh,
I'm pretty sure I definitely know what your game of the year is. Like I would bet money on it.
yeah,
I'm
it would be
so certain.
it'd be a safe bet. I have an assumption like robbed.
But
Everything was
I also
robbed.
know I think I know of at least two games that are on both of our lists.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure. But for my number 10, and it's funny that we're gonna piggyback from you talking to it to me talking about it. Silent Hill F is my
oh,
number
okay.
10 game. I
I was expecting a little higher on your list, to be
No,
honest.
it landed at number 10 for me. I love the game. I thought it was a blast. I Where you did not have a good time with the fighting mechanics, it plays like a very dumbed down and a bit janky Souls-like game. Like it's not
Hmm.
nearly as punishing as a Souls-like game, but it has that similar parry mechanic vibe feeling to it. I love games that have that. I am a Souls-like player, so that appealed to me personally. I thought the world was really cool. I thought it was unique. I really enjoyed the like story of like 1960s Japan and the ties that come into it. Um, it was really fun. You know, things that like I wasn't a big fan of. It felt like a lot of the creatures, especially towards the end of the game, just felt very, very repetitive and like just like a different color or just like extra embellishments on them, but they were the same creatures that you were fighting right at the very beginning of the game. I had to watch a video for to have the ending fully explained to me. Um, so for that, it got knocked down, but I had a blast. I had a blast with Silent Hill F. I do plan on doing another playthrough, but for time purposes, I've only done the first main playthrough of the game. But yeah, that's sitting at my number 10.
Okay. Yeah, all right then. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that game, but I'm glad that those videos I sent you helped explain the ending better.
Very
That
much.
is that you know, like I said, made me appreciate the narrative more
Yeah.
once I understood everything that was going on. I will say though, the more endings you unlock, the more weird and convoluted that shit gets. But it yeah. So my number 10, I know you were looking at my list of alternate game title riddles. Do you want to
Yes.
take a guess?
Yeah, your number 10 riddle of we have Skyrim at home. I am going to guess it is Avowed.
You would be correct. It is
Yes.
Avowed. And I can
Yes.
safely say, out of the two Obsidian games that came out this year, this is the one I actually liked more. Um, Outer Worlds 2, I don't know. Maybe I just need to get further into it. I don't know. It just doesn't stand up to the first one. It didn't even make my honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
But it's one of those things I'm probably going to look back on later and be like, you know what, I was too harsh on that. It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's. But for now, Avowed definitely between the two shined out more for me. It's Avowed is basically I would describe it as whimsical Skyrim is the best way to put it. It is basically like I love how Obsidian games are so the gameplay of Bethesda, but everything else is BioWare. And I
Hmm.
think that's why they appeal to me more than typical Bethesda games, because I like Bethesda gameplay, but everything else about their games is so goddamn bland.
Hmm.
um, Whereas like I said, games like this, it's more whimsical. The world of Avowed is very colorful. It's beautiful. Your companions have a lot of personality, distinct personality, and they're all very lovable people once you get to know them. It feels like I'm playing first person Dragon Age, quite frankly, and I
Hmm.
love that. um, and I love how you can have any weapons you want. You can switch. Do you want a sword in one hand and a gun in the other? You want to use a magic wand and a shield? You can do whatever the fuck you want. And that's great. you know. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that gameplay. Only reason it's not higher on my list is because it's, at the end of the day, it is just
there's
discount Skyrim,
yeah.
but but it's great. It's got a great story, meaningful side quests that don't feel like tedious fetch nonsense, and I love how it's linear open, where like every area you go to feels open and big, but when you open up the map and look at it, you're like, okay, there are borders here. There's limits,
Right.
you know. And then it's not like you're in a huge overwhelming sandbox the whole time. You're progressing to different areas that feel like levels.
Hmm.
Like it feels like you're doing point A to point B progression, and each area has its own distinct map instead of everything all being part of one thing.
Hmm.
You know, and I think I like that more. That like setup.
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
number 10 is Avowed for me. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is Bloober Team's Chronos: The New Dawn. I
I knew this was going to be on your list
Yeah,
somewhere.
I honestly, I will tell you, like, and for anybody that listens to other episodes of the podcast and everything else, I am, I'm not a sci-fi person. Like, that's just not my normal bag. Um, and so when I first saw the trailers for it, I was like, this feels very Dead Spacey, which was like like right on the needle for me. Listening to you talk about it and be like, it is very Dead Space coded, but it's got a very unique, like, challenging aspect of inventory control management, and these creatures are kind of hard to kill.
Fucking bullet sponges is what I
Yeah,
call them.
and I was like, man, I was kind of in a lull at that point. Like, I had just finished. I think at that point, I just finished the first DLC for Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I was like, I want something. I want a palate cleanser. I want to play something that I don't normally play. Like, even though it looks
A palate
sci-fi.
cleanser, he calls this.
Yes, yes.
That's
Challenging games are a palate cleanser. I like to, after I play Elden Ring, I like to cool down with Dark Souls 3. No, like
yeah. This man called the Dark Souls of sci-fi horror games a palate
it
cleanser.
was. It absolutely was a palate cleanser, and I loved it. I really did. It was very cool, very unique, like time traveling kind of a story. I don't want to give the game came out this year. I don't want to give spoilers or anything like that. But it was a very unique setting. It was gorgeously done. Like, it was very, very pretty to look at. Jump scares got me a handful of times, which I normally don't flinch too hard at, but they got me good a handful of times. Bosses in the game felt very, very satisfying to beat. It was just overall, it was a very pleasant surprise for me in 2025, and I am genuinely grateful that you recommended it highly enough to me, Justin, that I ended up picking it up, and I'm happy that I own a physical copy of it now.
My thought process was, this is a game for masochists. Brooksy will love it.
Nailed it. Totally nailed it.
And this is coming from a guy who loves horror games and loves like the stealth-based ones,
Hmm.
especially where you are suffering. But that is a game that is so unfairly difficult for me, for like someone like me. Um, I was actually very sad about that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
I love
know.
Bloober
I know.
Team.
It was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it myself.
Um, so my number 9, the hint was A Song of Sand and Water. Obvious Game
I
of Thrones reference,
Yeah,
but
my guess is it sort of the sea?
it is Sword of the Sea. Number 9 is
Yeah.
Sword of the Sea. Um, so for me personally, this game feels like a bridge between Journey and Abzu, and I loved both of those games. I cannot express how much I loved those games. Journey was one of the most unique things I had ever experienced when it first came out. Like, just this idea of you just like traveling through the desert and randomly running into other wandering players, but them being, there's no, like, you don't know who they are. You can only communicate through chirps and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And then like Abzu being like a single player experience that's like in the ocean. It's the visuals for me. A lot of it feels like I'm playing a painting, a beautiful painting, and I love that quite a lot. in games. I love these artsy fartsy like if if you have to point of at examples of games being art, games like Sword of the Sea are those examples. You know,
Yeah,
in my opinion, and I love how smooth it is. It feels so good to
it
just surf across the
it
sand.
does. It does. I'm not gonna take that away.
It's
It's buttery smooth. Like it is satisfying.
and that is something that this particular developer does well a lot because the swimming in Abzu and the like running and run and gun arrow shooting of the pathless, it all feels just as smooth
Okay.
as this game. They've always been really good at that, but yeah, it's for me. It feels like what's the best way to put it? Honestly, games like this kind of feel like I'm playing a Pink Floyd music video
Yeah.
on it. You know, and I love that kind of trippy shit. Like it's just like something I can really zone out to, and that's what I call a palate cleanser. Like that, just beautiful, innocent, like artsy fartsy stuff. And honestly, the part where you ride the dolphin is so much fun. It is like I quite enjoyed the dolphin part quite a bit,
Dude,
and the water.
the ending was so much fun.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting actual danger in the later half of the game, and then you get to the fire level, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this took a turn. So yeah, I don't know. There's always like a weird indie on my list, and that has to be the one this year. you
makes
know,
makes sense to me.
for me. What's your number 8?
My number eight is actually, I think, the very first review I ever did, being a part of the Overcast. My number eight is Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I Man, I that was just again that was just like a big bowl of comfort soup for me. Like I grew up playing Ninja Gaiden games. I grew up playing hack and slash games. I was not anticipating them to ever like really bring back Ninja Gaiden or anything. So for them to make the announcement of Ninja Gaiden 4 and then be like, "Oh yeah, also Ninja Gaiden 2, we've done a full remake of it and it shadow dropped right now." I loved it. I had such a blast. Like it just playing through it just reminded me of being like 13, wanting to throw my remote control straight into the wall, like go full Kyle mode. Like this is before I started like figuring out like challenging games and all of that. Like but it brought me back to a comforting place of my youth. It played incredibly smoothly. It was as corny and dorky and cheesy as far as like narrative and dialogue goes, but like it's part of the charm for a game like this. Um, Overly graphic, overly violent, just a good time all around. Like I was so happy when it got announced, and it met my full expectations. Loved it. Real happy to have it in my number eight spot.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I figured that would be in there
Hmm.
somewhere. I almost forgot about that one though, to be
Yeah,
honest. I know that
it's
was
been a
earlier in the
while. I
year.
know it's been a while. That was back in like January, February.
Alrighty. My number 8, I believe the hint was Lo-Fi Samurai.
Yes, and if I am correct, it is also on my list, and I am gonna guess Ghost of Yote.
Right, so we're gonna put a pin in that one then, because I'm guessing it's higher on your
It
list.
is higher.
Obviously,
Yeah,
since you just did
yes,
number 8.
yes, it is.
Uh,
It is
by
higher on my
by
list.
process of elimination, that
Yes,
could be the
I
only.
good deductive
Yeah.
reasoning over there, buddy. Like,
All right then. So we'll put a pin in that one and move on to your number 7.
ooh, my number seven, which if I am correct at your riddles, we're also going to put in a pin on this one. But my number seven is the perfect 7 out of 10 game for me of 2025, which is Mafia: The Old Country.
Um, Let me double check. Yes, it is. It is a tad bit higher on my list.
Yes, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know which one it is, so I'm gonna put a pin in it. But we should probably move on to your number 6, which I am almost certain is also my number 6.
Oh, the same spot.
Same
Wow, that's
spot.
interesting.
Yeah, so your riddle for this, all in one word, is ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself out of here. Uh, a
Gambit.
classic Gambit line from the Wolverine Deadpool movie, and I am going to assume that it is South of Midnight.
You would be correct. Number 6 is South of Midnight.
Hell yeah, it is also it's also my number 6 spot. So let's just glaze the crap out of South of Midnight right now, shall we?
Yes. Yes. No. Yeah. I loved everything about this game except for what the game thinks passes for a final boss battle.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that was ass.
I
But the
honestly,
rest of it,
honestly, I think the only thing, and like I get where people were coming from of like it felt super repetitive of like you're doing the same button mashing and all that, and I disagree on the button mashing. Like it, you can play it
no,
like
there's
you
definitely
can,
a lot of
yeah,
like
you can.
dodging and
Yeah,
yeah.
you can play it like a Devil May Cry. You can make it stylish, which is definitely what I did. I will say my only gripe about the game
That's the way it's
is
intended to be played,
yeah,
but yeah, if you but you can also button mash your way through, but that's a choice.
yeah, exactly. My only complaint is it did feel like the enemy encounters, like the variety, much like my complaint with Silent Hill F. They did feel
Yeah.
very, very similar throughout the entire game. That was really honestly, that was the only complaint I had. I love the animation art style. I love the fact that they made a game that really highlighted Southern culture, specifically Southern Black culture. Like it was such
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful story. Some of the stories that were in there were things that I had heard from friends of mine that had moved from Louisiana to Texas, like growing up as a kid. So it tugged a very soft spot in my heart, and it was awesome. It was awesome. There was no question it was going to be in my top 10 list this year.
And see, I even love like unlike most people, I love the gameplay too. I love the Legend of Zelda style rule of 3 for the boss battles. Very like, classic games feeling. It and like style and gameplay wise, a lot of it reminded me of, well, there's elements of a lot of things in here, but like most of it felt like Alice Madness Returns. I got that a lot out of it, but I also got hints of like Crash Bandicoot and Ratchet and Clank a little bit here and there. Um, Definitely some Ratchet and Clank, like the grappling and like the sending your little pal into areas that you can't get to and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so like it basically it felt like a game that was inspired by the early like the 2010s platformers
Hmm.
era, and I like that a lot because I want more of that, quite
Yeah.
honestly. I do agree on the enemy variety though. Like, I mean, come on, developers, get it together on that.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts gave us like 100 different Heartless various on the PS2.
Oh,
Like,
100%. 100%.
yeah. So, yeah, let's figure that out. I could understand when like classic Final Fantasies just color swapped monsters
Hmm.
back in the day because they were like very limited to their hardware. But
Right.
um,
A little something different would be
but
nice.
yeah, South. Everything that you said about that game just now, I echo all your sentiments.
Yes.
Um, and honestly, I really liked the boss battle against the Spider Lady. I
Oh,
thought that was very well done.
so good. So good. Honestly, I really outside of the final boss, all of them for me were bangers. Like the tree, oh god, oh I wanted to cry so hard. Like and I was like this is the first major encounter. Okay, cool. Um no, I loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
So I just realized, yeah, we accidentally skipped over my number 7, but I think we're gonna put a pin in it anyways because I think it's higher on Brooksy's list.
Mhm.
So to be clear, so my number 8 is Ghost of Yote, but we skipped it because it's on his list. His number 7 was Mafia: The Old Country, but we skipped it because it's on my list. My number 7 is Split Fiction,
I
but I think
knew
that's
it.
higher on his list. So
I
we
knew
skipped it.
it.
But then South of Midnight was number 6 for both of us. So this is the part where I think we're going to start talking about the ones that are higher on both of our lists.
Yes.
Because what is your number 5?
So my number 5 is Split Fiction. Uh, so
Okay. Okay, so that makes sense. So Split Fiction was number 7 for me, so we skipped it. Now
mhm.
it's number 5 for you, so this is where we'll talk about it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. My number 5 is Split Fiction. It was so nice that I ended up actually playing it twice. Once initially with my wonderful wife, and then secondly with my wonderful co-host Justin. Uh, man, it just Hazelight doesn't miss. Like Hazelight really does not miss, and I almost feel bad putting it at number 5 because it feels low for how quality of a game this is, and I'm
I'm
sure you
I'm
probably feel the
surprised you
same.
put it above South of Midnight,
I
honestly.
honestly, it was that final level. Like if that
Okay,
final
fair.
level did not exist, and I don't want to say everything that happens in the final level for those that have
No,
not
no,
played
no,
it
no,
yet.
no.
Um,
Yes, for those who come after.
yes, for those who come after. So yeah, and this game gave me a lot of wheeze, not so much woos. But um, this game was incredible. It was so much fun. Was it corny dialogue? Absolutely. But the game kept it fresh from the very beginning to the very end. I never felt like it dawdled on one mechanic for too long. If anything, I wish they would spend a little bit more time on certain mechanics that I really loved a lot. But I thought the world was built beautifully for those that have played the game. The deciding factor between me having Split Fiction higher than South of Midnight was the final mission. It was the Split Fiction mission. It was some of the most mind-boggling things I've ever seen in a game. Um,
Yeah.
that I just again I have never seen anyone do something like that, and the fact that they nailed it too is just icing on the cake. Like absolute icing on the cake. It is a game that I wholeheartedly love, and yeah, no, I feel great about it being there's no question again it being in my top 10. I almost feel a little bad, like I wish I had it a little bit higher, but when I look at what's in my top 4, I'm like, no, there's sorry, this is a rough year, man. Like you're at number 5 for me.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really have a justification for why it's lower on my list besides the fact that I like the things higher than it more.
That's fair.
like
No, that's super fair.
and that's I'm pretty sure South of Midnight I gave like a 9 out of 10. So,
Yeah.
but um no, Split Fiction I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed playing that with you, and I do think I kind of diminished my own experience a little bit by trying to focus too much on commentary since we were doing a let's play.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. It was really fun. I know it like yeah, but I still appreciate everything the game was doing. There was some great serious moments in the midst of all the Marvel esque
Hmm.
cheesiness that came with it. But I don't dislike that aspect of it because I feel like it was tongue in cheek, like it was kind of making fun of its own tropes
Hmm.
while doing them. So I was okay with that. Plus, I will never not get a kick out of you saying, my balloons! That one, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but that went in the
Yeah.
reaction video.
Yeah.
That went
No.
in the highlight reel.
Love it. It's such a good game. It was a good game, man. It really was. I loved it. Cool. Yeah, but yeah, that would be my number 5. Um, again, I have a feeling, especially because you've said it's already on higher on your list. But
Hmm.
your riddle for your number 5 is Assassin's Creed Goodfellas. So I have to assume, is
That's
it?
the facetious one.
Yes, is it Mafia the Old Country?
It absolutely is,
Yes.
and like the Assassin's Creed part, and I think for anyone who's listened to me talk about that game on the podcast, you'd get that. Plus, the Goodfellas is a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Um, but it is so Good. I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for like these old school mafia stories and all that, but like this game has I I'll put it to you this way. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and it like blew me out of the water. I love the gameplay. The stealth parts feel like old school Assassin's Creed, like
Hmm.
knocking people out, hiding their bodies in boxes and shit. Like that's why that's in there. Um, and then it turns into a third person shooter sometimes, but the story kept me really engaged, and I love how it's like open world but not sandboxy.
Hmm.
There's not like there's a thousand fucking distractions everywhere. Like it's very focused and linear on where. So even though you're driving throughout the country, you're really just going to a specific spot, you know. And I like that linearity with a sense of openness, like I said before with Avowed. Um, and I love how the story pretends to be predictable, but kind of subverts those things a couple times, especially near the end,
Hmm.
where I thought the game. I there was a spot. There's what I thought was gonna happen did happen, but it's also where I thought the game was gonna end, and then it goes on for another half hour,
Yeah.
and that surprised me the way where it takes that turn, and that I honestly that last half hour of the game or so and how it actually ends kind of bumped it up a couple points for me. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
not a couple points, but like maybe a whole actual point,
Yeah.
quite frankly. Um, so yeah, I would argue out of everything I played this year, including stuff that's higher on the list than this is probably the most fun I had all year with gameplay. In out of
Yeah.
everything
That's
on my
fair.
list, Mafia the Old Country, out of every game on this list, probably has the best gameplay for me. But the games higher than this on my list do other things better for me, so that's why it's only in number five. But I had to put it in the top five. I just couldn't. I had so much fun with it being my first Mafia game too. Like that's a great introduction to the series.
Yeah.
So, um, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you nailed it. It was just like I said, it's not a long game. It's like I think it's like 10 hours or something like that. Um,
That too.
it's a
I
it's a
like that part of it too.
it's a game that, yeah, it harks back to like the old days of like me being in like middle school, high school, whatever it is, like the games that were only
Mm,
like 10 hours long. I could wake up early in the morning and by nighttime I'd played the game from beginning to end. Like we don't get games that are compact and full at the same time, like Mafia of the Old Country. And it was a compelling story. Like it had that old school vibe where, like, yeah, it felt like you were playing a little bit of old school Assassin's Creed. Kind of felt like you were playing a less chaotic like Uncharted 3 and some of like the hiding behind and shooting aspects. Like it was just, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It was a great story. That's why I kept saying it's the most perfect 7 out of 10 game I've ever played. Like it was awesome.
yep. Another early 2010s style game that was really really fun. And honestly, the performances are really good in it too. Like the voice
Oh
acting
yeah.
is, I thought they did a really good job. So number four.
Number four, I feel like I'm gonna be putting a pin in mine because there's no way it's not in your top four, especially looking at your riddles. But my number four, again, a very surprising game for me this year was Dispatch.
Yep, it's definitely higher for
Hmm.
me.
I figured as much. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is sitting very comfortably and very happily for me at number four.
Okay. Would you like to take a guess at mine?
Yeah, number four. Should we have connected? Now we're starting to kind of get into riddles that I don't feel 100% certain on, but I feel like should your number four is should we have connected? Is it Death Stranding 2?
It absolutely is. Death
Yes.
Stranding 2. So, another podcast I listened to, this was actually with the two guys that also did this exact same thing we're doing.
Hmm.
That was actually one of their game of the year.
Oh, really?
Um,
Nice. I don't
Yeah.
blame people having that as their game of the year though.
Um. So, yeah, they got a lot of flack for having Expedition 33 at only number six.
Oh, 6. Oof, that's a little rough. That's a little rough.
It is. But yeah, so Death Stranding 2, I will say, um, there there is the reason it's not higher because the first game was actually number 2 on my list the year it came out is because there are a couple moments in it that are do feel a little bit like a chore to get through. And that was the case in the first game, but the first game had more of an addictive gameplay loop. It feels like this game in direct response to a lot of people that had a hard time with the first one. It feels easier, if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
Like there's more driving, there's more like vehicle like you get vehicles a lot sooner,
Oh
like
yeah,
way sooner.
like you get it like 2
And
hours in. Like it's like,
yeah.
oh, awesome.
And like the mountains are way easier to get through if you have a bike because the bike just tears through them. But in terms of story and like overall gameplay, I do think I like this one more. I would definitely call it more fun than the first one.
Hmm.
I think the first game is a better game overall for various like fucking hard to explain pretentious artsy reasons, but Death Stranding 2 is definitely a more accessible game. There is a lot more combat than the first game, like way more
Hmm.
combat. Like I swear I counted like 10 boss battles in this game at least. Um the last I don't know 3 to 5 hours of the game is some of the most wackadoo, over the top nonsense, crazy shit I've ever seen in my life, and I will never ever forget it as long as I live. It is the most Kojima thing I've ever seen since the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, quite frankly. Um, and that's saying a lot. Because to this day, that man still says that even he doesn't know what the hell he was talking about at the end of MGS2. So,
Hmm.
which is very Kojima. Um, but that's also the other thing. Kojima's a mad genius. There's a lot of like weird little nonsense shit in here that I love. There's like if you find the first time you find a hot spring, there's a scene you can activate that is just what the fuck. There's the shit with the pizza guy that is
Hmm.
also like what the fuck, and I love every last bit of it. It is this is this it's fucking stupid, but I love it. Like it is. Like, and that's why I love it because it's just so weird. It is honestly it's starting like this game more so than the first one feels very Metal Gear Solid. Like there is a lot of things in Death Stranding 2 that feel very Metal Gear
Hmm.
Solid.
100%.
Um and I'm kind of here for it. Also, Troy Baker's performance as Higgs. I don't know why he. I mean, I know why he got nominated for Indie, but this is the performance he should have been nominated for
Yeah.
at the Game Awards, because goddamn is it unhinged. I remember my mom saying something when she seen it. She's like, Troy Baker would make a good Joker, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll have you know he's actually played the Joker in Batman Arkham
Yeah.
Origins. Um, so yeah, it's hard to, it's I can't go into all the details. Like we'd be here for 2 hours straight
Fair.
just on this game alone. Like it's just so much. Obviously there are some things about it that I don't like as much as the first game, but most of it I feel like is a vast improvement. And I also feel like it didn't feel like as much of a slog to get through it,
Hmm.
especially near the end. But there was a point, it did get to a point where I was finally like, okay, I'm ready to be done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see the end now.
That's fair.
And I pushed for the end, and like, that's when the game actually shines the most, is in like the third act near the end of the game, when you just, once you start pushing for the end, you get hit with cutscene after cutscene, and there's just so much weird shit. And I love Dakota Fanning's character in this, by the way, too. She's a fucking badass. Um, so
Hell yeah.
uh, Tomorrow. That's her name. That's right.
Hmm.
Tomorrow. They got weird name. He can never just name people normal
No,
shit
of course not.
in
It's
these games.
it's
So,
Kojima. He's not going to do anything normal.
so yeah, that is that for me.
Heck
So
yeah.
number 3
Yeah,
for you.
top three now, man. I this is a was a game that was on your list, just a bit on the lower side. My number three was Ghost of Yote for this year. I
Oh, okay, very high on your
Yeah,
list.
very
That's a big
high.
split. It's
Yeah,
number 8 on mine. So
you had not. Did you finish all the way through on Ghost of Yote?
no, that's part of it too. I
Yeah,
think is I
it's
haven't actually finished it, but I've there's a lot of things like the like I hear that the Oni part isn't very good. you know.
I like the Oni part. Like I really did. There was very little about this game that I did not enjoy. Um and really honestly, the only thing that I really did not care for in the entirety of this game is not Atsu the character itself. It's Atsu's personal mission of vengeance. There are a couple of moments in the game that it starts feeling very one-dimensional. And when I say like
Mm,
parts, I mean like literally like a line here and a line there throughout the entire game, where it's like, it just kind of feels like we're on the same trope, but like also based off
mm.
of what you've experienced, because as you play the game, you learn more and unravel more about her past. Super valid responses. In all honesty, like, yeah, these bitches deserve to die. Like, man, I loved it. I really did. Like, I loved the graphics were insane. The story was amazing. The variety of enemies, the variety of weapons, absolutely astounding. The fact that it's one of those few games where I would get stopped every 5 seconds because a little bird popped up, or I saw a fox, or something looked cool in the background, and I didn't care what I was doing. I was like, "Ooh, I want to go see that," and I just got really lost and really immersed in this world, especially with, and I cannot remember the official name, but there's an option for audio where it will, whenever nothing crazy is going on, it plays this, as you put in your riddle, a lo-fi music background sound, and it just
Yeah, Lo-Fi
yeah,
Samurai.
I just got real zen into it, and
I exclusively use that. I do
yeah.
not. I never turn it
Oh yeah,
off.
no, it doesn't feel like it's the same game without it.
Yep.
But I loved it. I really did. It was fluid. It was fun. It was challenging at times. Like there are certain bosses in the game, like the Unbreakable one, that like it's just like, oh man, this is the sauce. Like this feels so good to play. I know they've already come out with the new update that's got the new game plus. I do plan on checking that out at some point. But I had such a great time. I am one of those people that are in the minority that I do prefer Yote over the original Tsushima. Um,
I actually agree with you.
yeah,
I from what I have played of it, I and like honestly, I've played enough of it to put it higher in my list this year than games I've actually finished.
yeah,
So
that's
that is saying something about its quality.
yeah,
But yeah, combat wise and story wise,
yeah.
well, maybe not story
That's
wise,
a
but definitely gameplay
Yeah, I
wise,
was
I
gonna say,
prefer
I
it.
literally think that Tsushima has a better narrative, but everything else Yote really excels in. Like really, really excels
Yeah.
in. And it's also, it is the only game this year that I full on platinumed. And I made it a point that like when I was starting to get near the end of the game and I could feel that I was near the end of the game, I was like, I gotta go and see what trophies I've missed, because I wanna end this game. I wanna see the credits roll with that platinum show up at the same time, and I did exactly that.
Ah, okay.
And it was so satisfying for me, and I literally, like, as soon as I finished it, like I just felt complete. It was a complete game. It was a complete story. It didn't feel like it was really missing anything. Like there was just like a couple things of like it feeling a little one tone at very minor parts of the game where I'm like, that kind of fell a little flat for me. Whatever. And I just kept moving, and I loved it. I genuinely loved it. I got no qualms for it being my number three for this year.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the only reason it wasn't higher on my list is because of the other things that were basically,
Yeah.
it was more of it's just a preference thing for
Yeah.
me more,
I
and
get it.
because like I love everything about it though. It's a better revenge story than Assassin's Creed Shadows
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
fair.
Um, Yeah, and the gameplay, like I said, better. I like the gameplay more than Tsushima. I think Tsushima might have a better overall narrative, like you said,
Mm.
but and then yeah, the lo-fi music, the beautiful visuals. Did the first game have the you go faster in the white flowers thing?
No,
Did they have that?
that was a newly added thing that was really
I
really
like that.
appreciated. Plus, also gaining,
Yeah,
like you get it from that, you gain extra speed from running through water. You'd get it
yeah.
if you hit the wind at the right angle, you'd get a little fast track as well.
Oh,
Like,
I noticed. Okay, okay, so that is what that is. I thought I
yeah,
was just.
it shows you
I
what
thought I was
direction
just
to go, but if
suffering
you
from the placebo effect.
yeah, it does help you like show you where to go, but it also if you catch it at the right angle, you'll catch speed from that. There's also like droves of horses that if you ride with them, you gain a lot of speed. Like there's they did a great job with traversal, and I'm sorry, I will say it has some of the fastest load times I have ever seen in a game. The fact that I could just click on the game and within less than 10 seconds, like 7 seconds or something, it drops me immediately where I was last at. I can travel from one side of the map to the other, and it's literally like the screen goes black and the screen is back. Like it's just the game was incredible. It was incredible. I no question for it being my top three.
So, would you like to take a stab at my number three?
Yeah, the day after today arrives. For me, it does read very similar to For Those Who Come After. And so I want to say your number.
Except that's not the phrase it's supposed to be.
Oh, really?
But
Okay, but I still want to say it's Expedition 33.
yes, and it's supposed to be okay. So it was a long-winded way of saying tomorrow comes.
Ah, yes. Okay, cool. And for whatever reason, I read that and I was like, For Those Who Come After, like that. I don't know why that read to me that way, but you know what? Regardless, still nailed it. And I will say it. Expedition 33 is in my list.
Right. So let's just talk about it now because it's obviously your number two, and that
how
can't be. It
how
can't possibly be anything
how
else.
dare you? You're not wrong, but how dare you? Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk Expedition 33.
I wasn't sure about anything else on the list, but if there was two things I was sure of, it was your one and two.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, good
Although
call.
although I wasn't 100% on where you'd put Expedition 33 until we got like a couple spots away. Then I was like, okay, I think I know where it is
Yeah,
now.
that's fair. That's super fair. No, dude, I loved Expedition 33. I'm actually currently starting to replay it. I played it for like 30-ish minutes yesterday. I just got past through the gamage and everything, but even just playing that very beginning, and because there's a couple sequences you can go for fighting, like there's a little mime to the side. Um, just doing the pairing mechanics after not touching it for months, I was like, oh god, this game really does have the sauce. Oh god,
I
this game
do
is so
I
good.
I do need to replay it, but I think I would like to replay it on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
I
it's
think I think the mechanics might feel better to me on the
it
PS5 controller.
feels it. I will say the first playthrough I did on it was on the Xbox. I bought a.
Do they use the
Mhm.
adaptive triggers at all in the?
I haven't
Well,
noticed yet because the parry is L1, and so the haptic
oh,
feedback
okay.
comes from the L2 R2. So maybe
The haptic feedback might actually help a lot with the
yeah,
timing.
that's fair. But no, I bought it physically for the PS5. I played it originally on the Xbox. Man, it's like, what can really be said about this game that hasn't already been said? The 9 award-winning, Game of the Year winning, gonna win every single award that's ever existed winning game that is Expedition 33. I've said it countless times. This is a generational game. This is a game that we're gonna be talking about next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the way that we talk about things like Final Fantasy VII, the way that we talk about
Yep.
things like Shadow of the Colossus just being ahead of its time and being immaculate and incredible and just fills you with awe. Like I haven't cried to a game nearly as much as Expedition 33. I love turn-based, but I've never had so much fun. I love the fact that you can do so many different things. Like you were very much a on the defense kind of a player. Meanwhile, I'm over here like a psychopath, giving myself no defense and just doing exclusively parrying and making myself the strongest glass cannon possible. Um,
It's great how they give they let you build your characters that way if you want to, And it's crazy that I became a Stonewall by the end because your characters start with ass for
oh
defense.
yeah,
Because
uh,
yeah, and so you really have to work at pumping into that. And I like almost exclusively stat dumped into defense for the
yeah.
longest time.
No, that makes sense. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I did almost no damage at the beginning, and by the end, I'm starting to do like 50 million point combos, and it's just like holy crap! Like I'm too OP. Like this is insanity, and I love it.
And it actually brings up a good point because now that I think about it, the fact that you and I were able to both beat the game with two completely different play styles really shows to me that you can play this game as its inspirations. You can play it like a Dark Souls, or you can play it like a Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
You played it like a Dark Souls. I played it like a Final Fantasy.
yeah, and it appealed to both of us for those reasons. You are very much a big
Yes.
Final Fantasy person, so this really appealed to you. I am very much a Souls-like person, so this pairing system really appealed to me, and it gave me the courage to go back to Sekiro. It
And there are quite a few turn-based RPGs that have that same QTE parry system.
yeah.
Like Paper Mario, Legend of Dragoon, South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
They all have that.
It's just like I don't know, man. It
This
was
one's just harder than
yeah,
those by
it
design.
was just a beautiful game. It was a beautiful story. It had some of the most incredible music. Like the story of how this game even came to be, from finding their writer on freaking Reddit and finding their composer through freaking SoundCloud. Like it being a team, an original core team of 30 to 35 devs from Ubisoft that just wanted to make something that was cool. Like it just like everything about this game just screams exceptional. I love this game so much. There was, however, just one other game I loved a little bit more. um,
Yeah,
but we'll
yeah.
we'll we'll get into that in just a second because do you have any last thoughts on Expedition 33?
Honestly, anything and everything that can be said about that game has been said on this podcast and a thousand others at this
You're
point.
not
So,
wrong. You're not wrong. Well,
so
let's move on to your number two, which the mm,
all I will add is the fact that even the developers themselves can't agree on which ending is the quote unquote good one. Is
yeah.
That is the very definition of art right there.
Yes, and I mean, even here in this podcast, in this recording, we have two
Hmm.
very different opinions on what is the correct ending. Oh man,
Yes.
but onward and upward, as they say. Your number two, your riddle for it is, yeah, superheroes, bitch. Which definitely has nothing to do with the hit classic known as Breaking Bad, and definitely is not Dispatch, is it?
Oh, it's definitely Dispatch, and that's definitely an Aaron Paul reference.
Love
Uh,
it.
yeah. So yeah, Dispatch, it kind of slapped me in the face. It came out of nowhere, and it is just so like I didn't even I knew I was looking forward to it after seeing it announced at the Game Awards last year, but then this year it just kind of fell off the radar until it popped back up again, and then everyone was suddenly talking about it, and I was like, oh shit, it's out, and and then I didn't realize the voice cast. Like I remember seeing some of those names in the trailer, but like the Game Awards, that this was announced in. It was like a year ago, and I can't be expected to remember every little detail, every little trailer I saw this that far.
Mm.
You know, it's some of that shit does eventually leave my memory.
Yeah.
um, so it was kind of like a surprise again when I saw the cast on the PlayStation Store listing, and I was like, oh shit, Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, Lana Pierce, and I was like, and then Aaron Paul. Oh god, okay. um, this is a huge return to form for Telltale. Like it is it it plays like a better version of the classic Telltale games. It feels like they finally figured out the formula, and Critical Role being involved is great. I absolutely love Laura Bailey in this game as Invisigal. Her performance is probably one of the best ones in the whole thing. And it's also one of the funniest goddamn games I've ever played in my life. Like this, I was almost in tears from laughter playing this. I was like laughing myself dizzy. um, Especially when it came to Chase. He is hilarious. He's probably the
Mhm.
funniest character in the whole game, quite frankly. I will say though, there is in him and the dog, there is one line that they basically stole from Brooklyn Nine, but it came from him, so I'll give him a pass.
Fair.
Um, but and then Critical Role being involved, yeah, this is the first Telltale game with like actual gameplay that isn't just like walking around and picking shit up, like the dispatch parts. And I love how they kind of they went full on like outside of the dispatch parts. This is just going to be a full on interactive cartoon,
Mhm.
you know. And that works for me because I actually like that more than like I love Telltale's older games like The Walking Dead and the Batman and all that stuff, but like I the gameplay could get really tedious sometimes, and I think I prefer this like just whittling it down to the choices and the QTEs, and then leaving all the gameplay to the basically D&D style superhero dispatching stuff, because that's where the game like really stands out. And I love how the stuff that happens in the story affects the dispatch side of things and vice versa.
Mhm.
And everyone's great in this too. All their performances, like even the YouTubers, they you could tell they had a lot of fun making it. Um, and I think if this is the level of quality we can come to expect from the resurrection of Telltale as a new studio, then I am extremely excited for whatever comes next, especially the Wolf Among Us sequel.
Oh yeah.
If it's to this level, then yeah. And great story, and also I might be a little biased because I got the good Invisigal ending. So,
Yeah, I did.
um,
I did too.
oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, we're in that camp. A lot
Yeah,
of people were like,
we actually
the
never
game is
talked about our
glitched.
outcomes.
No, a lot of people were like, "Oh, the game is glitched because I did everything and it still didn't." And then like
No,
just
you're just a
like the
bad person.
developers, yeah, the developers put out a statement. They're like, "Actually, no." They said it's because you're just bad at your job. Like the actual dispatch parts that has an
uh,
effect on. It's very subtle. There's like invisible scorekeeping happening within the game itself behind the scenes. So it's not just the dialogue options you make, but your performance during the dispatches can have a direct influence on some of the other characters' behavior and attitudes as well, including Invisigal, especially Invisigal.
hmm.
So, what's funny though is I actually quote unquote failed the final boss battle against the Judas in the last
Hmm.
part, and somehow still got a mostly good ending. It's just that they ended up going to jail.
Okay.
Was the
Yeah,
only thing.
my person did not go to jail. My
Okay, fair
Judas.
enough.
Yeah. Um. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, I again, like I've told you, like like narrative games like that, they have to be something that's special for me to really be like invested into it. And dude, Dispatch was something special. Like Dispatch was something
It made your top
absolutely
five,
special. It made my
so
top five. Like, and now I want to make sure it's on the record that I am a person that does enjoy narrative games. They just gotta be something special. Clearly, with it being in
the bar
my
is
number
extremely
four.
high.
Yes, yes, the bar is extremely high. Like, but I do enjoy games like this, and yeah, Dispatch was, dude, it was just awesome. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it ran incredibly well. I played it on the Steam Deck personally, and it looked like I was playing it on a PlayStation. Like it ran beautifully. It looked
Mm-hmm.
great. It
Mm-hmm.
played well. I enjoyed the mini game aspect of it. I enjoyed the dispatching. Like no, it was a great game all through and through. I'm not surprised that that's your number two game for the year.
It also looked to me like I was playing it on a PlayStation, and that's probably because I was.
Yeah, that's fair. Good call. Good
I'm
call.
gonna, uh, I will be going for the platinum in this. I'm just trying to figure out how, because some of the shit that you have to do is very. There's some RNG stuff that I think I'm gonna have to grind because
That's
it's gonna
fair.
be very like one of the trophies is literally succeeding a call with a less than 15% success rate.
Yeah,
So
I have that, and it's pure luck. It's literally pure luck, and I think it was in the final
yeah,
mission. I think it literally was in
yeah.
the final mission for me.
I do have the one for failing with over 75% though.
Oh no, I have not gotten that
Yeah.
one. I have not gotten
See
that
the
one.
my the RNG in my first playthrough was rarely in my favor. I know that there's one particular mission where they're all supposed to be assholes and keep fucking up because it's part of the story, but like I had a real rough go of the dispatch missions in some of those
Uh,
sections. I'm not gonna lie.
I did in the first half of the story. Second half, it was definitely generous to me in certain points.
It's also though I made the mistake of not stat dumping like you did. In my
Mm,
second playthrough, I'm stat dumping now, and I'm having a much easier time.
that makes
There are
sense.
still there's still some failures, but it's also like it's sometimes you just can't get the right person to the thing because they're still resting from the previous
Yep.
thing, and then the timer runs out, and it's like so
Yeah.
but yeah, there's like a science to it, and you figure it out. Okie dokie. So
We're at the number one. We are officially
yes,
at the number one.
I know
And
what your game of the year is, but I'm not going to take it from you. Go on.
I I I appreciate it, but if you want to, I'll let you. You know what? Screw it, Justin. What do you think my number one game of the year was for 2025?
Well, it's clearly Mario Kart World.
It's
No, but I'm
it's
seeing. No,
it's actually
it's
Call of Duty 7. Thank you,
uh,
thank you.
it's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
It is absolutely Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. For anybody that has been listening to me on this podcast throughout the year has heard me glaze KCD2 probably more than even the developers themselves. And even in the spirit of knowing that we were going to be recording this week, over the weekend, I actually completed and platinumed the DLC for Legacy of the Forge and Mysteria Ecclesia. So I couldn't just talk on the base game, but I could talk about the entire game as a whole. And
Nice.
man, I know earlier this year we were talking about for my fantasy episode, like what is my favorite fantasy game, and it was a toss up between Elden Ring or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I was having such a hard time with it, and I landed on Elden Ring. Now, having played almost 250 hours into KCD2, I can actually say now that KCD2 is my favorite game I have ever played. Um, I love this game. I love this story.
So, so
What's
let me
up?
say, let me ask you this: if we were to do a top 10 games of this console generation when the generation ends,
Yeah,
this game would probably be number one in that list too.
it would be that number one in that list too. You are correct.
Would it be your number one in your top 10 games of all time?
Of all time, it is my favorite game ever, and I mean that with my
Okay,
entire chest.
awesome.
I
Okay,
I love this game. I am a huge RPG person, and yes, I understand that this game is RPG on crack. It is a
brutal,
Tamagotchi. Yes,
challenging.
yes, it is a Souls-like Tamagotchi. And I loved every second of it. I from picking flowers to go and spend a couple hours brewing potions so that way I don't have to worry about it for, the next 30 hours in game to smithing, especially in the Legacy of the Forge DLC where you open up your own blacksmith shop, and it's almost like Animal Crossing medieval peasant blacksmith edition where you get to design your own blacksmith store, and as you grow through the rankings you get cooler options, and you're making axes and horseshoes and swords for the community, and doing a bunch of different quests. Like it just it that aspect is a lot of fun. The story is so unbelievably well told and so rich. Henry of Skalitz is in my top favorite protagonists I've ever played as in any game. Period. He's just as wholesome, corny, goofy, stoic, just incredible character. His right hand person, which really is technically his lord, which is Sir Hans Capon of Perkstein, was an incredible person. Like every person from Dry Devil to Zishka to you name it, they each have their incredible, unique, wonderful background and story. The fact that you really are as limitless as possible, where my first playthrough of the game, I just wanted to be the best swordsman as humanly possible. My second playthrough, I was a lot more on stealth and poisoning and shooting people with crossbows from afar. And I've started, just because I have the time, I'm starting to learn how to get good with fighting with pole arms. Like it's just there's so much variety, and there's so many fun Easter eggs and just random things. Like you can come across a random person that that has a arrow in their forehead and in their skull, and there's a dialogue option that asks about the arrow, and Henry immediately says, "Well, I knew about a bloke that took an arrow to the knee," which is an immediate joke on Skyrim. And the character goes back and was like, "An arrow to the knee, psh, you're out for like a day." Talk about anyone that took one to the head and lived to tell the tale. And it's just, yeah, it's an incredible game. If you love RPGs, you love open world RPGs, it is rough the first like 10 hours the first time you play through. My second time, where it took me 10 hours to get where I needed to be, only took me like an hour and a half my second playthrough. Um, that first
Okay.
little bit, yeah, that first little bit is a little bit of a slog. Everything else is just so wonderful. And honestly, even though it is a slog, to sit there and try to figure out how this game works and how to survive as a peasant, like it was just so much fun, and it was so rewarding. Like being able to figure out how to best survive and thrive, and everything else. It was just an incredibly satisfying, rewarding game. I could not recommend this game anymore if I tried. I think everybody that listens to this podcast probably already knows that. Yeah, this is my not only my game of the year, thus far. It's the game of my life. Like it is that good. It really is that good, which is why I am bitter about Best RPG at the Game Awards. But I'll digress.
Fair. Fair.
Oh man.
All right.
Anyways,
So,
we
so would you like to take a stab at my game of the year?
yeah, man. Your last one and your last riddle is humanity's last hope, and I feel like unless if you were really paying attention to what you enjoyed and didn't enjoy this year, I don't think most people would get this one. But I'm gonna guess it is the 100-line Last Defense Academy for you this year.
Absolutely.
I got I got 100% on your riddles. Hell yeah.
Smart. Yeah, so this, as a fan of Danganronpa and Tactics RPGs, this tickles a lot of fancies for me at the same time. It's a very unique combination. It's part visual novel, part Tactics RPG, part mystery story with an assload of plot twists. Um, and part like slice of life simulator where you're like hanging out with people and giving them gifts and like pumping up your relationship. So there's a touch of persona in there too, you know? And then there's these bits where like it turns into kind of a board game where you're going around a map and you're like trying to collect materials to make more stuff and upgrade your weapons and your abilities so you can kill more things in combat and stuff like that. And death is not a bug, it's a feature in this game. It's actually a huge part of the gameplay, because your characters, as long as they're on school grounds, cannot die. And dying in combat, there are moments where you can be low on health, and you can actually do a sacrificial move, that will do like extra damage to the enemies, and it'll take your character out. But these battles are split into multiple rounds, so in the next round, all the characters that died will be revived by the what they call, I shit you not, the revive-o-matic, is the name of it. It is very anime, and that can make it difficult to get into for some people. I get there are like some of the most egregious tropes in this, and that happens to be the case with a lot of like weird shit I like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. They don't quite go this far, but anyone who's played Danganronpa will know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of that kind of crap in this game, and I don't like that. But what I do like, though, is that some of the characters that are like the most insufferable, worst people ever in the beginning of the game end up being, through character development, end up being like completely different people by the end of the game. And so the game has genuine, meaningful character development in its story in a way that I like. And also, like I said, an assload of plot twists. Now, the one big part of the reason this is my game of the year is because of the narrative, and explaining a lot of that would be diving extremely deep into spoiler territory, because some of the plot twists are some of the most mind-blowing and, quite frankly, emotionally devastating shit I've ever seen in a story.
Hmm.
It completely, like, it's like near Automata levels, if that makes any sense in terms of plot twists. And um, I will get into a mild spoiler territory here to explain the one big thing I think that really makes this game unique and stands out. Obviously, the whole point of the game is you're trying to defend this school from incoming invaders for 100 days, just trying to survive, and the story takes weird turns as it goes. But when you get to the end of the 100 days, it turns out that's just a 30-hour prologue. This is where the game actually starts after the first 100
Hmm.
days. And to put it into perspective, basically you start over again from day 7, I think it is, but now you have knowledge of the future events, so you can make choices that change the story. And this leads to a branching paths of, I shit you not, 100 different endings.
Mm.
Um, but
Lord.
only one of them is. But see, it's not like what you think. There's a bunch of joke endings and stuff.
Yeah.
Some of these endings lead to some really cool stuff. There's a path you can take where it just straight up turns into Danganronpa, and they say fuck this and just start killing each other. There's a path you can take where one of the characters just becomes like a cult leader and everyone follows them. It's like in some of it's a bunch of non-canonical, like, weird endings. Like, remember those old like Goosebumps, Give Yourself Goosebumps books where it would be like, oh, you fucked up, turn back to page 7 to try again. you know
Hmm.
like, it's a lot like that, because there is only one canonical second ending that you can get. Like, there's a true ending you can unlock if you unlock all the other endings, but then besides that, there's only um one ending that is like, it's called the second run ending, and it is the canonical actual ending of the game. That's when you get the true credits. Actually, when you finish the first 100 days, a lot of the credits are redacted because they're spoilers. Like, there are spoilers in the credits, so they redact them until you've unlocked the endings that can reveal
Oh,
them.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you can see now why I think this is such a unique and genius game, because of the way they handle how the narrative flows. To me, it's the whole surprise. The first 100 days is just the beginning. Now you're in for the real story. Like that, I love. I love that kind of shit.
Okay.
It gives me like same vibes as like the Nier games or like Silent Hill F did this year, but we already knew that going into that one. Um, but I like it's basically it's taking elements from another game these developers did called uh Zenless Zone Zero. I think no, not that, not Zenless Zone Zero. Sorry, Zero Time Dilemma. Zero Time Dilemma. That's what it's called. That also had that same branching paths things. Danganronpa doesn't have that, but this is they're taking elements from all their previous games and like mixing them up in this one, and then giving it really unique Fire Emblem combat, and death is a whole part of it. I love a lot of, not all, but some of the characters are great. The blue-haired girl that acts like Harley Quinn, and she's like a mixture of Harley Quinn and Toga from My Hero Academia. I fucking love her. She's so unhinged. Darumi, her name is. So yeah, that is my game of the year. So just to recap very briefly, um, my top 10 was number 10, Avowed. Number 9, Sword of the Sea. Number 8, Ghost of Yote. Number 7, Split Fiction. Number 6, South of Midnight. Number 5, Mafia of the Old Country. Number 4, Death Stranding 2. Number 3, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Number 2, Dispatch. And number 1, Game of the Year, The 100 Line Last Defense Academy. Also, first time a Nintendo Switch game was my game of the year.
Was it really?
Yep, first time ever.
Was it really? Oh, okay. All right. Hell yeah. Yeah, and my top 10 list is number 10, Silent Hill F, 9, Chronos, The New Dawn, 8, Ninja Gaiden Black 2, Mafia, The Old Country, 6, South of Midnight, 5, Split Fiction, 4, Dispatch, 3, Ghosts of Yote, 2, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and number 1, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
And your game of the year, yes. Um, so I'm not going to get into details on this, but I am just going to say really quickly. I'm just going to name them because we have to take off here now to make room for the next show that's about to record. But
Mm-hmm.
um, the four games that I really wanted to get to this year but never got around to that I regret not getting to was Pokemon ZA,
Mm.
Deltarune, Tainted Grail, and The Midnight Walk.
Yeah, I mean, great list. I have one of those on my list, which is the Midnight Walk, Keeper, and lastly is Dying Light: The Beast.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I have played a decent chunk of Keeper. It's nice, nice, cute little game.
I'm a big
So,
Psychonauts fan, so I gotta see what they're cooking on these days.
all right, folks. Well, there you have it. You have Oversoul and Brooksy's top 10 games of 2025. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to smash that like button if you're watching this on YouTube. Leave us a comment down below, or on Spotify, you can leave a comment as well. Or you can email me at podcastoversoul@gmail.com. And you can find Brooksy at Brooksy My Boy on Instagram. Thanks for listening. Have a happy new year, and we'll catch you in the next one. Good night, everybody.
Later.